Think about the last time someone made you feel bad about yourself and then immediately told you they loved you. Not a stranger, not someone who meant to hurt you, someone close. Someone who, if you tried to explain it to a friend, you'd struggle to describe, because when you said it out loud, it would sound small, like you were being sensitive, like you were making something out of nothing. She just worries about me. He means well. That's just how they show love. You learned early that love sometimes comes with a sting in it, that affection and diminishment could arrive in the same sentence, that the person who most wanted to protect you was also the person who most often made you feel like you needed protecting from yourself. That's not a Disney villain. That's a specific kind of relationship, and it's exactly what Tangled is about. Most of us watched it as a fairy tale, a girl in a tower, a thief with a charming smirk, a happy ending with floating lanterns and a kingdom reclaimed. We understood that Mother Gothel was the villain. We knew she was lying, that she'd kidnapped Rapunzel, that the tower was a cage. We filed her under evil witch and moved on. She was camp, theatrical, fun in the way Disney villains are fun, sweeping through scenes with sarcasm and showbiz energy. She made us laugh, even when she was being awful, because the awfulness always had a wink in it. That's exactly what she wanted. The most unsettling thing about Mother Gothel is not that she was cruel, it's that she wasn't, not quite. Not in the way that's easy to name, not in the way that would have been obvious to a child watching. She was something subtler than that, something that takes years to recognize, even when you're living inside it. There's a moment near the beginning of the film that most people remember as a throwaway joke. Gothel has been away. She climbs up the tower, pulled up by Rapunzel's impossibly long hair, Rapunzel straining with the effort. The moment Gothel steps inside, she turns to her daughter, glowing with warmth, and says,
"Oh, Rapunzel, how you manage to do that every single day without fail. It looks absolutely exhausting, darling."
Oh, it's nothing.
Then I don't know why it takes so long. Oh, darling, I'm just teasing.
The delivery is perfect. It is, technically, funny. Gothel offered admiration. Rapunzel deflected it, because she has been taught not to accept praise, not to take up space, not to claim her own effort as real. And then Gothel used that deflection against her. In 3 sentences, she praised Rapunzel, got Rapunzel to minimize herself, and then criticized her anyway. For something Rapunzel had just denied was difficult. And then the scene moved on, as if nothing had happened. That is not a joke. That's a tutorial. Later in the film, there's a scene in front of a mirror. Gothel tells Rapunzel to look at her reflection. She says warmly, "Do you know what I see?"
I see a strong, confident, beautiful young lady. Oh, look, you're here too. I'm just teasing. Stop taking everything so seriously.
Okay.
Rapunzel's expression flickers. Something passes across her face for just a moment. Some small hurt she has learned not to hold. That flicker is the whole film. Rapunzel has been living inside it for 18 years. The moment of being seen, and then the moment of realizing you weren't, that the attention was never for you, that you were incidental to someone else's story about themselves. She has learned to let that flicker pass, to smooth it over, to keep moving. That's not innocence, that's adaptation. The film has a song called Mother Knows Best. On the surface, it's a villain number. Campy, theatrical, fun. Gothel trills and preens while listing the dangers of the outside world. Ruffians, thugs, quicksand, cannibals. It plays as comedy. Underneath the music, deliberately underneath it by design, is a precise inventory of a specific kind of damage. Look at you, as fragile as a flower. You are small. You cannot survive without me. Trust me, pet. You are an animal, an object in my care. On your own, you won't survive. Sloppy, underdressed, immature, clumsy. Please, they'll eat you up alive. Every line is a wound delivered in a maternal register. Sloppy, clumsy, naive. And then, because the wound needs to be sealed before it's noticed,
Plus, I believe getting kinda chubby. I'm just saying, 'cause I love you.
the body comment comes wrapped in baby talk, in a diminutive that says, "I am so fond of you, I sound ridiculous," which means I can't be criticizing you, which means if you feel criticized, that's on you. The song ends, the music swells to its theatrical climax, and then Gothel drops the register entirely and says,
Don't ever ask to leave this tower again.
Yes, Mother.
I love you very much, dear.
I love you more.
I love you most.
that exchange is their whole relationship. Rapunzel always reaching to offer more love than she received. Gothel always claiming the superlative, always winning a competition Rapunzel didn't know she was playing. What we're looking at in Mother Gothel is a pattern called covert narcissistic parenting. It doesn't look the way most people expect. When people hear the word narcissist, they picture someone loud, grandiose, obviously self-important. That version exists, but it's not the version that most often raises children because it's too visible, too easy to name. The covert version is often warm on the surface, charming, even self-deprecating. What it shares with the overt type is the same need, to be central, to be needed, to have its reality be the only valid reality. But it pursues this through quiet means, through managing the people closest to it, through making those people smaller in ways that are hard to articulate because each individual moment seems so minor. The backhanded compliment, the comment that was just honesty, the concern that curiously always lands on whatever you're most proud of, the pivot to their own needs the moment you express yours, the guilt that arrives right after the hurt, so that by the time you've processed what was said, you're already apologizing for your reaction. This is not dramatic villainy. It doesn't announce itself. It accretes, over years, into a way of understanding yourself, into a voice inside you that sounds very much like love, but tends to agree with every criticism and discount every achievement. Gothel has been that voice for Rapunzel's entire life. Rapunzel didn't need to be locked in a tower to be trapped. She was trapped the moment she internalized that voice as her own. The film's real inciting incident is not the thief climbing in through the window. It's not the crown, the lanterns, the adventure. The real rupture is a single, small decision. Rapunzel chooses to want something for herself, to want it seriously enough to act. Watch what Gothel does when she discovers Rapunzel is gone. She doesn't collapse, she doesn't panic, she calculates. She finds Rapunzel in the outside world and switches tactics. Instead of fear and insults, she pivots to concern, to warmth. She is flexible because her goal was never to keep Rapunzel in the tower specifically. Her goal was to keep Rapunzel needing her. The setting was negotiable. The dependency was not. When warmth doesn't work, she engineers the situation. She arranges events so that the person Rapunzel is beginning to trust appears to abandon her. Flynn is framed, made to look like he used her and left. And then Gothel arrives in the ruins of that trust and says, gently, "I'll take you home." She is the cause of the wound and the offered comfort for it, simultaneously. That is not an accident. That is the mechanism. If you grew up with a parent like this, not one who was openly cruel, not one who hit or screamed or made the damage obvious, but one who worked through small diminishments and subtle reframings, you will recognize certain things in yourself as an adult. You may find it difficult to accept praise, not because you're modest, but because you learned that praise was usually the setup for something else. So you deflect it before it can be taken back. You say, "It's nothing," before anyone can agree. You may have a hair trigger for someone else's displeasure. The moment someone around you seems upset, you feel immediately responsible. You begin cataloging what you did wrong. You apologize before you've thought it through, because you learned that the window between causing upset and being forgiven was very short, and you had to move fast. You may find it genuinely difficult to want things, big things, things that require you to believe, even temporarily, that you deserve them. Not because you're fearful in a simple sense, but because the wanting was always the moment of greatest vulnerability. The moment when your desire could be met with, "I don't know why it takes so long." And you may love people the way Rapunzel loves Gothel, by always reaching to offer more than you've received, by being the first to say, "I love you more," by making yourself smaller so there's room for the other person to feel large. These are not character flaws. They are adaptations. They are what happened when a child tried to survive in a specific kind of relationship with the only tools available to a child. The child was doing the best they could. I'll say this briefly because it's not really about me. I have said, "I love you more" first, many times with many people. For a long time, I thought that was generosity, being the one willing to put it on the record. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to understand that I was making a preemptive offer so that the other person would never have to decide not to match it, that I was managing something instead of feeling it. I'm still learning the difference. Near the end of the film, Rapunzel says to Gothel's face,
I've spent my entire life hiding from people who would use me for my power. Rapunzel, when I should have been hiding from you.
It's the first time she has said anything entirely, uncomplicatedly true, not softened, not followed by, "I love you more," just the thing itself. And Gothel's response is immediate.
Everything I did was to protect you.
She doesn't break. She doesn't concede. She dies still inside the story she built, still offering the only version of reality she ever had. That's the part that's hardest to sit with, if this is familiar to you. Not that it happened, but that the person who did it probably also believed their version, probably still does. The wall between "I love you" and "I need you" was never something they could see, because seeing it would have required them to look at something about themselves they couldn't look at. It's possible to understand that and still have been harmed by it. Both things are true. What changes is not the past. What changes is the moment when the voice that says, "You won't survive without me," the one that sounds like it comes from inside you, starts to sound like what it always was. Just a voice. Just one read of you, offered by someone who needed you to be small. Rapunzel didn't defeat Gothel. She outlasted her. She kept going into the world even when the voice said she couldn't, even when she half believed it, even when the tower was still the only home she knew. The lanterns were always there, rising every year. She'd been watching them from a window for 18 years, wanting to move toward them, being told the wanting itself was the danger. Eventually, she stopped asking for permission. That's not a resolution. It's a beginning.